So next what I do is I play with these things until I figure out a look that I'm going for. I had this all done and then I moved the paper and it all moved, but I also figure out what I want to happen at the bottom. If I want something, I'm getting a little bit worried about always having dangly things, but I think I'd like to do something here, so figure that out. That might be too thick. And really all I'm doing here is figuring out how much silver to cut, whether I like the idea of it, and so they're not in place properly and they're not going, you know, they might change. So then I will cut a piece of silver out that is this big, and I used to get really concerned about wasting silver, and I still do pay attention, but now even, you know, if I were to cut all this away, I use all this for stamping anyway, so I very rarely waste an awful lot of silver. And then all the bits that I snip away I make the balls out of, so I use pretty much all of my silver, but I do like to only cut as much as I really need. And then I have to figure out if this is just going to be the back plate and the only back plate, then I usually use 23 gauge, and I think 23 gauge might be too thin. Depends how heavy. I don't want a piece of jewellery that I've made to look wrong compared to the weight that it feels. I think that's important. So, for instance here, this has only got one piece, and I think that is a 23 gauge sheet. But because of the dimension of the silver on it, it kind of looks well balanced. If these pieces were just flat on there, it would look like a flat piece. You know, to me that just wouldn't. These are smaller, so I don't know if they're going to have the same feel. I think they will. I think they will. Because what I would do otherwise is I would have a double layer. I'd have another piece of silver underneath of here. And then, so, if it's a double piece of silver, which will be shadowed like that, then I would use 2 sheets of 23 gauge. If it's on its own, just one sheet, I might use a 22 or a 20 gauge. That's the dilemma. But like I said, this is a 23, and I think the weight with all the little pieces of silver brings it up a little bit. My life, I tell you. Just can't make a decision.